Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Father's Note, where we promote fathers through building men. As always, we're glad that you took the time out of your busy schedule to come and spend the evening with us. We're so happy that you're here. We're going to talk about something that I feel that, prior to the transitioning of my father, um, that I didn't know. And, in all honesty, after 60, 2 years of life that God has blessed me with, I just did not know what I know now. And it really comes down to, what we really place our value in as people and as families. Just want to say hello to everyone who's tuning in. Thank you so much for your time. But before we get into our show for tonight, I want to. I always have to do this. I want to promote my mother's book, Diary of a Virtuous Wife. It's a very good book. There are some great testimonies um, that have come from individuals and people who have had the opportunity to read this book. So please, I stress to you again, it is Diary of a Virtuous Wife: How to um, How to Live with Infidelity and Win. Great book, great book. It's a book that was written by my mother as she shared her testimony, her experiences. I'm living with my wife, my husband, living with her husband, my father, with infidelity, and she stayed. She stayed in the marriage. She could have left, but she chose to stay in the marriage. And let me just read the back here about my mother, just to give you a little insight. It says that her presence illuminates any room she walks in with grace and humility. Her confidence speaks before she utters a word. She wears her age timelessly. Oh, yes. Who is this woman? She is called mother, sister, aunt, confidant, counselor, and wife. Not just any wife, but one who endured the test of times, a wife committed to honoring her vows to her husband and covering him when shame could have pulled the covers off. A wife who refused to give ground to the spirit of divorce when infidelity came in to destroy her marriage, not once, but twice. A wife who forgave, loved, and prayed for her husband, showing the spirit of infidelity that she was not ordinary or common, but virtuous. Yes. And because she took that stand against the spirit of infidelity, um, her and my father, they spent 70 years together. 70. That's right. You heard right. 70 years together um, of life. She was 14 when they first met. I think he was 17. And 4 years later, they got married when she was 18, and they had been together ever since. And that's, in all honesty, that is heard of in this day and time. That where couples will stay together. But anyway, if you want to purchase a book, you can reach out to her. This is her cash app, $ Rosa, ROSAB 80, ROSAB 80. The other thing, what I want to add to this is that my mother wrote this book. I think she just turned 84, if I stand correct. She wrote this book last year. Last year, we were able to assist her with that. And, we thank God for that. But you never too old. My mother became an author at the age of 83, so we thank God for her. But yes, reach out to her or you can contact me, and we'll definitely get that book to you. So I want to say that. But listen, let's talk about our topic for tonight. Again, thank you. And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put them in the chats. We'll try to respond to them. But I want to share this with you that I want to talk about family and I want to talk about life in itself. And I don't know which one I'm going to talk about first. I was just sitting here, just really just contemplating, thinking, to give some thought to exactly what I wanted to say to you all. And one thing for sure is that I'm the first thing I want to say is that I believe that we take family for granted. We don't place the value in family as we should. We will have a tendency to believe and think that there are other things that are more valuable than family. Now, I think that one of the reasons why we may feel that or we don't put much value in family simply because of a lot of the things that happen between amongst family, whether or not is husband and wives, conflict there, conflicts between father and sons, daughters and mothers, daughters and fathers, sons and mothers. And but we have to understand where this source comes from. Now, it's no doubt that those of us who know, and I'm sure we should know better, that God ordained family after he created, let's think about it, after he created the entire world, created this world, this earth, he created family. He created Adam and Eve. And then after doing so, what did he tell them to do? He told them, he said, I want you to be fruitful, I want you to multiply, I want you to replenish, I want you to subdue and take dominion, subdue the earth. This is what he gave us an assignment. He gave us a purpose of what to do when we were here. Hello there, Mr. Johnson. God bless you, man. And the thing is, now we know that what happened to the first family between two brothers, where one took the life of the other. Um, that was not ever God's intent, but it just goes to show what we as family members that we can have in our heart against one another. We are the condition of our heart is what calls us to hate our family, to hate a family member, to have unforgiveness, the spirit of unforgiveness, which is something I definitely want to talk about. That spirit of unforgiveness, especially how it can just rest right in the midst of a family and just bring all type and just settle there and just bring all type of division and diversity and separation amongst family members. And I'm here to tell you that uh, 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 when you like that, let me put it like this. Let me say this: if you are a person, whether or not you're a father, son, mother, daughter, cousin, nephew, niece, aunt, uncle, and you're not getting along with other family members. Now, do we have some crazy family members? Absolutely. I'll be the first to say. We have some family members that are absolutely, I mean, unequivocally unable to get along with. But check this out though. The most important thing is that you do your part as far as to have fellowship, as far as to love, because that's the appeal of all, to love on one another. You have to love conquers all things, to tell you the truth. But it's what's in your heart. Now you can either allow whatever those differences are to continue to cause you to remain separated from your family member. But in all honesty, I can tell you now that number one, God is not pleased, and number two, it is not healthy for the family in its entirety. So we really should really, you know, take a real good close look at that and evaluate the situation. And I'm sure that for many of you, those of you who are professing Christ, you're professing Christianity in your life, it's no doubt you know that the enemy or Satan, or however you may want to refer to him, definitely wants to bring division in the family. So what's the reason why there was he want to do that? It's because he wants to destroy what God has all established, already ordained. And then the flip side of that is that when you look at it, it's that in all honesty, I'm telling you, everybody loses. When you have division in your family. Now you may disagree, and that's perfectly okay. But in the end, everybody loses. Because I believe that when God placed family members into a family, each and every one of that family member has something to sow, has something to impart in that family. Now, God, of course, being a God of mercy, He does look over things, but yet still, though, we cannot allow that. Now, check this out. Let's take the story of Joseph and his brothers, and look what they did to him. But they despising him because of dreams that he shared with them, that how that one day he was going to rule, and it was jealousy that set in. They came against him. They one If it wasn't for one brother, can you imagine? They wanted to kill him, and they was jealous of him because he was very loved by his father Jacob. Okay, but look what they did to him. Well, instead, they sold him to a band of thieves. Now, can you imagine? Why you do that to flesh and blood? And it just goes to show the magnitude of the heart of our heart and what we possess on the inside. Now, I mean, take a look at it. Those of you who are watching, those of you who are listening, look at your own self. Take a look at your family. Okay, can your family be closer together? Do you not desire that your family was closer together? But look at all the division that lies in the midst of our families. In the end, nobody's winning. Nobody's winning. Yes, you may be doing well. I may be doing well. Somebody else, another family member may be doing well. But in the end, everybody loses. You may disagree, and that's okay. But from what I've seen and what I have been able to witness, especially since the transition of my father, that everybody loses. The other side to it too, that I'm going to go here with this. When we talk about wealth, all right, we think that our wealth, or we have a tendency to believe, or let's say society places wealth, you at being a wealthy person, on materialistic things. Okay, whether or not it's multiple houses, cars, money, how well your portfolio is established, those tangible things that we as individuals, we go out to pursue and to seek and to have. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that. The Bible talks about us being wealthy. It talks about us being people of wealth. That's going back to the Genesis mandate in Genesis 1:26. Okay, yes, we're supposed to obtain these intangible things, but I've come to this conclusion, and this is what I've been able to see. God has allowed me to see and open my eyes to understand and to see over the past month and a half, that we really place our value in the wrong things. It is wrong for us to place our value in materialistic things over family members. Can you imagine how many families are divided because of material things? Whether or not it's houses, whether or not let's say a loved one transition, and he has cars, they have houses, they have a large bank account, they have insurance policies, and what have you. Just imagine, think about all the families that fight over these materialistic things. Mm, just think about that. Now, on the flip side, I'm going to say this here, and this is a little footnote for those of you, those of you who are of age, those of you who have children, those of you who have families. Let me throw this little plug. I'm going to go down this little bunny trail a little bit here. The most important thing you can do for you, your spouse, and your family, your children and family overall, is to make sure that you take the time to make a living will, how they say it, last will and testament. Let me just say it this way. You need to establish a living will now. Now, do not wait. Do not put it off. You need to establish a living will as to who gets what, when, and how. Because you know why? And it's sad that it has to come to that. And it's all because, again, as I'm going to say, it's about the heart. It is the heart of man. And I've been so shocked. I really, I'm going to say it this way. I understand why God destroyed the earth in the first time. Man's heart can be so wicked, and we allow that to overcome love, hate to overcome love, and we're wrong because God is a God of love. But we value family more than materialistic things. Guess what? Family bond will stay together. Guess this is how I look at it. If you have, I have. If I have, you have. Every little joint supplies. I may not have the whole hundred, the whole $1, but I got 20 cents I contribute to it. Or you got 30, okay. All we need is another 50. Well, I got 5. Okay, now we have 55. It's what we do to come together to establish a common goal. This is something that someone had wrote. When I was my wife, my mother and I, we had to go back um, to their hometown to take care of some business, and we were just going through some things because there's some things that she had wanted, um, and she wanted to bring back some keepsakes. So I took her back up there over the weekend, but I had found a program, okay, of one of our family reunions. When the last time you been to a family reunion? Wow. Let me tell you something. What I've come to realize now, before when we used to have family reunions when I was much younger, I thought it was just a time where family come together just to get together. But no, I've come to realize that a family union has a greater cause and a greater purpose. And it's so that you can know who your heritage is. Think about it. When you look throughout the Bible, it's always the heritage of great men and women that are listed there. There's a reason so that we don't forget who our heritage is. But nevertheless, though, they had this quote in there. It says that a family is a deep-rooted tree with branches of different strengths, all receiving nourishment for an infinite source, from an infinite source, which we know is God. Okay, so God and plant. And it says that a family is where character is formed, values are learned, ethics are created, and society is preserved. A family is where all members contribute and share, cooperate and work, and accept their responsibilities toward the good of the group or the good of the family. A family is where holidays are celebrated with feasting, birthdays acknowledged with gifts, and thoughts of days gone by kept alive with fond remembrance. A family is where each finds solace and comfort in grief, pleasure and laughter in joy, and enjoyment in daily living. A family is a haven of rest, a sanctuary of peace, and most of all, a harbor of love. I thought that was very good. But nevertheless, though, I'm grateful for the experiences that I have been having, and I tell you that when you have a strong family bond, okay, uh, there's nothing that can separate you. I understand now why it's important. I mean, even God, this is something that He has definitely ordained. When I was researching, I'm like, wow, I didn't know there's a lot of information that I did not know. And I would challenge you, go and learn your heritage because that's where your wealth is. Now, I come to find out that as far right now that my lineage started in 1847. I'm sure it started preceded that, but I was able to see where it went back to. Let's see, there's something that's happened here. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you very much. To my family, from what I'm seeing, uh, during this family union here, able to go back to 1847. Um, with Mr. Charles L. Nelson and Mary Clark Nelson. Okay, and um, this occurred in Clarendon County, South Carolina, and he was a free man, a landowner, and farmer. Had 9 children and were born from their union 5 men and 5 young ladies. And of course, it give a whole list here of my lineage. Okay, and now there are some things that I definitely want to say here, and I'm just bear with me whether or not I'm going to go there. But those things, those tangible things that we want or that we feel that we have to have, right? Let me say it this way. When I was thinking about this, you know, it's not about the materialistic things. Well, it shouldn't be. And let me help you if you disagree, but if you feel differently, why do we go to work? Do we really go to work to possess things? Is that your primary cause? Or do we go to work? Do we establish businesses? Do we invest in ourselves just so that we can have things? Or do we go to work, establish business, create wealth so that we can take care of our family, so that we can provide for our family? Now, just ask yourself that question. You get up every morning, whether or not it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and you go and you work at a place of employment for 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. Why are you doing it? Is it just so that you can put a roof over your head, have a car? And these things are necessary. These things are essential. But what's the real source? I would like to say, and I would like to believe that you do it because you want to take care of your family. You want to be able to provide for your family better than what your parents provided for you. And I believe that every parent out there in their right mind, in their right heart, want those things. And this is why you go, yes, you want nice things. And I'm not denying that. I'm not debating that. You want nice things. Yes, you want to be able to afford a nice automobile. Yes, you want to be able to not live from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. You want to leave something behind. But why are you doing it? What's the main source of you doing that? It's to take care of your family. At least I would like to hope and think that. But let me tell you this: I wish that I knew then what I know now. While I know what I know, let me encourage you out there. Whatever division that is amongst you and your families, fix it. Fix it. Someone has to be the bigger person. And one thing, we have a tendency to a family member to be hurt by a family member. And you know what the seed of that hurt is? What happens for us, shall I say? Is that if we allow it to linger, what ends up being generated is a spirit of unforgiveness. Now I'm here to tell you that unforgiveness is a ruthless, undeniable spirit. That spirit will absolutely destroy a family. Not only would it destroy a family, but it would destroy you who possess the unforgiveness. It will hurt you. You will not prosper like you think. Your life will be a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. You feel like you on top of the mountain. A day, a wind come along and knock you down in the valley. And it seems like you spend more days in the valleys than you do on the mountaintop. How do I know? I've been there. I've been there. And many of you who are on this show, you've heard me talk about uh, the unforgiveness that I had with my father and how I'm telling you for 30 years, my father and I, we fought. We absolutely fought until God dealt with me. He told me, he said, listen, and this is what he said to me. You're right, Miss D. It kills from the inside. It absolutely would destroy me. And I'm still the same person, but I was carrying a spirit of unforgiveness, and I had to get that thing right with my father. And you know what? I'm glad that I did. I am glad that I did. If I didn't, I'm just looking at and thinking about all the opportunities that I have, that I had with my father since I decided to love on him instead of hate on him. And that is the most, I'm telling you, right now, my heart is just bubbling over because even my father, just when I think about the interview that I had with him on this show, that means so much to me. Man, that's eternity. That's my father represented a heritage himself. I represent a heritage for my sons and my daughters. It just continues to go on and on. And as I prosper, my children are going to prosper. As he prospered, his children prosper. As his father prospered, he prospered. They were landowners. They were landowners from years and years and years. They own land. That's where their wealth lies at. Our wealth. If you want wealth, if you want to be rich, listen, how many people wealthy people? I mean, they worth millions and billions of dollars. But when they die alone. No family. How many of you know? So it's not in the things that we possess. It's okay to possess those things, but why possess them when we don't have family to celebrate or to enjoy them with? No, 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 no. We gotta love on it. We gotta come against that spirit. We cannot allow that spirit just to reign over us. And just think about what it's causing. I didn't even know I was going to go this way, but just imagine this. Let's take the city of Chicago, for instance, and all the killing and murders. And I don't even want to emphasize the fact, maybe I shouldn't say it, but the black on black. No, it's just the period of human life being altered. And if you are a person who don't value someone else's life, then that means you don't value your life or your own family life. Because if you could take a life and you could do it, because the scripture says, whatever you sow, that's what you're going to reap. But what if we loved ourselves? We loved on one another like we're supposed to. We love on our family. We stand for our family. See, those things mean nothing when you don't have forgiveness. Those things mean nothing when you don't have forgiveness or love. Sounding brass and tinkling cymbal. Yep, that is so true. That is so true. Man, so you know what? Let me tell you something. I was looking at my father, and he possessed things. He possessed some nice things. Nice suits, his equipment, vehicles. But when he transitioned, he couldn't take it with him. Huh? He couldn't take it with him. Am I going to remember him by those materialistic things that he have? Whether or not I or my siblings inherit those things? Is that what is really important? Or is it the memories? Is it the memories and the times and the laughter and the love that we share together and we share with one another? If you ask me, those moments, like that interview I had with my father here on the show, listen, man, that's timeless to me. That's priceless. Nothing he owned or possessed can ever equate up to that. Can never come up to that. I'm telling you right now. It won't replace the fact that he's not here. It won't replace that. And he left these things behind. But what good is it? What good is it if I can't sit down or call, say, hey, Pops, I can't hear his voice again. See how we take family for granted? And we fight amongst ourselves. We have issues with one another. And then we get them and then we hold on to them. Instead of doing like the Bible says, that if we got to go to them, go to that person Go to them and get it right. But no, we have too much pride for that. We have too much pride that we rather hate because we feel it's easy to hate. It's easy. It's easy to hate, but at the same time, though, hate is destroying you. It's destroying you. But the challenge is to love even when you're being done wrong too. That's the true gift of God. That's the true loving of God. Love of God. I'm telling you. It's the memories. It's the memories. That's what we miss. I was thinking about my grandparents. And like I said, they own land, they own property, plenty of it too. You know? And when I think about my grandparents, now this is a picture of my father parents, Gracie Mosby and Gracie Nelson. You know something? This picture here been around since I was an adolescent. We used to go, my parents used to take us to South Carolina every summer when we was in elementary school. 8, 9, 10 years old, 12, 13. I'm going to tell you something. The reason why this picture is significant, I'm sorry, sis, you can't have this picture, is that, let me tell you, I was thinking about my grandparents and I was saying to myself, I'm like, wow, I have no picture of them. I have no picture of my grandparents. And this picture was the only picture that I knew of my grandparents since I was a little young man. This is the only picture I knew. So when my mother and I went to Carolina over the weekend, went back to the property to get some stuff, and I was thinking about this picture. And when we opened up a box that had pictures in it, this was the first picture I saw. And I grabbed it and I put it right in the truck. Like, I can't. Now, mind you, now think about it. My parents, my grandparents, they own property. They possess things, materialistic things. But it wasn't the property or materialistic things that was the memory in my mind. It was this picture. Just having this picture allows me to have a piece of my grandparents. And this was the thing. I invited my son and his sons over today. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, I want you to see this. I want you to take a look at this. Because guess what? Without this picture and other pictures that I have here, they wouldn't have never, my grandsons wouldn't have never knew what their great grandparents looked like. The stories that I share with them about their grandparents is what I remember, are memories, whether good or bad. I can tell you some stuff about these two. Now, the interesting thing, Grandpa it's crazy. I had never thought about it, but my grandmother called him preacher. That was her pet name for him. Guess what my pet name is with my inner family? It's preacher. Some of you may not know that, but yeah. But I could tell you, oh, he was more than just stern, sis. He was more than Pops didn't play. I don't think I ever remember seeing Pop smile. But he was a provider. He was a protector. He had his ways about it. He did. But I wanted my grandchildren to see what this is it. This was it. And as I see some other pictures, you know, I'm going to show you another picture here that he did not smile. No. That I remember that used to be in the house. In those, my parents lived my grandparents lived in a wooden shack. Yep. But they didn't have locks on the doors, the front door. They had a little wooden knob. You turned it down. Oh yeah, you talking about straight country. Straight country. We didn't have running water. You had to go and pump. You had to go to the pump, get water. You had water for washing dishes. You had clean water for drinking out of. And then if you had to go to the bathroom during the day, you went to the outhouse. See, some of y'all don't know about that. Y'all spoiled right now. These children today, they don't know nothing about good living. You had to go to the outhouse. I'll tell you about that another time. But if you had to go to the bathroom at night when all the snakes and all the critters and everything out, you had to use the pot that was underneath the bed there. I'm talking about how we used to do back in the country. See, y'all, hey, we lucky now. But anyway, this is a picture of my let's get that right there. My father. This is he right here, my father, and then his brothers, and Big Mama, my grandmother. Yep, she raised them sons, man. Yeah. Hey, memories. That's family. I treasure this more than anything. I treasure this more than anything. Memories of, so it made me wanted to get to know who my great grandfather was. That's what we need to cherish. That's where the value is at. Who cares how many cars you have? I'm going to say something here that some of you may feel very, may think controversial. I don't know. Depends on what side of the fence it is, but I'm going to say it. I look at Trump, Donald Trump. Wealthy man. But what intrigued me, though, was his relationship with his children. You may have your opinion about how his character, whatever, but he seemed to have a great relationship with his children. And I value that more than anything else he said, did, done, or whatever, what he possessed. That's the true sign of a good father. And it is. And I respect that. I respect that. We ought to be valuing our family as well. Put your differences aside. Please do that. Put your differences aside and love on one another. If there is division, make sure you're not the cause of it. Please. Okay. I think that's it. To say ball water for the 10 tub. That's right. Those were the days, man. Those were the days. Y'all don't know what that hard. Then on top of that, we had to go out there and pick the cotton, corn. You know, everything we ate was off the farm. Everything we ate was off the farm. But I think I'm done for tonight. I think that's all. Time is too short to be playing. You're absolutely right. Look, materialistic things come and go. But the most greatest things that you can have is family. So teach your children to love one another. Cousins, get to know cousins. Have those family gatherings. Let me say, I'm going to say we. Let me just go here. I've made mistakes. I've made decisions. I don't want to say mistakes. I made decisions that did not, what I see, it may have been good for me for the moment. But when I look back, I see the long lasting effects of it with my own children. And yes, I understand now why God tell us that, when you get married, you marry until death do you part. Um, we make divorce too easy. But when I look at it, some of you may agree or disagree. When we divorce, now I'm not talking about when if you're in a volatile situation, something like that. No, I'm not telling you to do that or to remain in something like that. But when you divorce, it's almost like you ever seen a piece of fabric and the thread is out, you know, you're disrupting the cord, that family cord of the family. And in all honesty, I've seen how that it has affected, the relationship of my own children because they have same father but different mothers. And then think about they trying to. This is another thing. I don't want to get off course here, but I look at this. Okay, so my daughter, one of my daughters, will spend time. Let's say Thanksgiving come around. Want to spend time with her mother, but then don't get spend time with me, where I would like to spend time with my daughter, but she can't because she's spending time with her mother. Now she's between two. Okay, well, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I go to dad? Do I go to mom? Y'all follow what I'm saying here? So then who's spending time with who? Even during Christmas time. We're putting our children in a position where they have to choose, especially when they get of adult age. And then their children trying to understand what's going on versus we had just stay together as one. Everybody fellowship, just like it was said, everybody fellowship. Every holidays, the family stays together, they eat together, they pray together, they just have fun together. Birthdays, huh? Man, there's just such a mass domino effect that happens to the family. That's why with most men I come across with, I have conversations with, they're going through certain things with their wives or whatever, and they say, hey, you know what, man, we're talking divorce. Yeah, I did it. I did it too many times, you all. And hey, I'm an advocate against divorce. I tell them don't do it. I say, whatever you got to learn, bro, learn it. Search yourself. What can you do that can eliminate it? Divorce is too easy. It's way too easy. And that's exactly what the enemy wants anyway. But what happens though, who are in the suffering? Especially if you have children involved, your children are suffering. And you may say, well, they're young, they're 3, 4, 5 years old, it's not going to make a difference. Okay, that's not when it bothers them. When it bothers them is when they turn 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Then they go to question with dad, why you didn't stay with my mom? And then you got to answer that question. At least you should. You can't blow them off now, but that's the decision you made. I hope I'm still on topic here, but it's just something that was in my spirit. I just want to share. Just want to share that. No, we can't do that. You should not do it. And then even if you don't, one of the challenges I had was encouraging my children, even though they had different mothers. Encouraging. Let me make this clear. I was married, you all. I was married every time. I didn't have no children out of wedlock. I want to make that clear. I did not have no children out of wedlock. No, I didn't. I had more respect for myself than that as a man. But what I used to do, the challenge was, hey, son, call your sis. Hey, sis. Hey, daughter, call your brother. Y'all communicate. Y'all talk. Hey, have you talked to so-and-so? Have you talked to so-and-so? Hey, y'all need to come together. Blase, blase. Y'all need to get to know each other. You need to allow your children to spend time together. But if they were together, if they was all from one wife, one mother, one father, then they wouldn't have to navigate their life through that dysfunctionality in which that I caused. That's what it is. Now, some of you may do well, and some of you do. Hey, I'm grateful for how the Lord blessed my wife and I to navigate through our blended family. Even the same thing on her side. these decisions that we make, it really just unravels. That's the word I was looking for. It ravels the thread in the cloth, in the suit, in the dress, or it's like a run in the stockings. But ladies don't wear stockings no more these days. So even just the mention of the word stocking, y'all probably wonder what that. Y'all might be thinking I'm talking about something that what you hang on the fireplace. Nah. Anyway, that's another subject. Anyway, yeah, but that's the cause of it. So what I did, I dispersed my family, okay, into so many different areas. Instead of they had to been together where we can really have that family union bond. And cousins would get to know cousins and you know, so forth and so on. And I would get to know my nephews and nieces, and my siblings would get to know their nephews and nieces. And so it's just a domino effect. It's just a domino effect. I know this might be hard for some of you all to accept, to garner. But I'm just going to give you truth, though. This is true. It's nothing else but truth, whether we like it or not. This is nothing else but truth. And the reason that I'm saying it, and you know something? A lot of you know I'm telling the truth. Because even as I'm talking about it, you're thinking about it, you're reflecting back. Man, that's exactly what's happening to me. You want, let's say even if you have adult child and they out of town, now they got to decide whether or not they want to come spend time. And you want them to come. You know, I've had those moments where it's that I've had to go have a birthday here and a birthday there and all this kind of stuff, or at least shoot by this house. Man, let me tell you something. It's not no fun now. You know what? Because of how God designed us, we learn how to live with it and navigate it. But it was never God's intent. It was never his intent. We disrupted the family when we make those decisions because we're selfish about how we feel. Oh, listen, I know what it's like to live with a contentious woman. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't. And you know what? I have faults too, bro. I was flawed, man, all over the place until I learned. I learned life. I learned the importance. You know what? Let me say this here, and we're going to close. I hear men every time they're going through something. I'm still talking about family and life. Every time they're going through something with their spouse, their wife, first thing out their mouth, they do just like Adam did. Well, Lord, it was the woman you gave me. They blame it on the woman for their actions. Yeah. Yes, you do. Why you do that? Because that's too easy. You don't want to face blame on yourself. Because if you was to really take a good look at yourself, you wouldn't like what you see. Yep. But I'm here to tell you, and you know what I always do? Always steer them right back to themselves. Gotta look, no, bro. What do you do in order to cause this division between you and your wife? Don't blame it. Don't do the Adam. Don't give me the Adam syndrome. No. Because you have a charge. You know what you should be doing. Can women be hellish? Then they get a devil to run for their money. Yep. But even in the midst of that, it's your responsibility to make sure that you do the manly thing. You don't fight. You don't argue. I know I'm just talking science, gibberish to some of you all. Well, you say use your mirror. That's right. No, fix you. Make sure you're right. Even if they don't ever change, then it's easy for you to change. Consider her. Consider how she feels. Consider this. You're not going to lose anything. It will not make you less than a man. How I know? Because I live it. I live it. I have the most loving, adorable wife. My wife don't play, and I know that. She has her ways about her, but I don't pay no attention to that because I'm gonna go on being me. We learn how to love each other as we are, and that's what you need to do. You need both of you need to learn how to love each other for who you are. Be an example in the front of your children so that when they get older, they want to marry. What example did you set for them? Are they seeing you the example of them fighting and bickering and you constantly at one another's throat, you sleeping in different rooms or you sleeping on the couch or you're throwing stuff? Is that the example you're establishing before them? If it is, then I'm just going to ask you not to do it. Work it out, fix it. I always tell them, hey, it was some reason you fell in love with them. It's some reason that you married them. It may not have been the right reason, but you married them anyway. There's a reason why God was against divorce. And you know what my mother's experience, she had all the grounds in the world. But then when I think about it, look at what that would have caused, the domino effect that that would have had on myself, my sisters, you know, my own children. Nah, it wouldn't have been the same. It would not have been the same. It would have been totally, totally different. But I'm grateful that my mom made the decision. I'm sure it was tough for her, but I think she had the future in mind and she trusted God in the process. She trusted God. I know I hear a lot of you ladies when, wise, when when we talk about the book, Living with Infidelity, the Diary of a Virtuous Wife. Even my wife has said, oh, I couldn't do that. My your mother better woman than me. And she is. But I don't believe that she's the only woman that God has developed to be like her. You can be that way as well. But look at the joy of it. Look at what my mother received. He came around. He came around. He forgave her. He prayed for her. She well, she prayed for him. She did everything responsible as a wife for her husband. And even in the midst of his wrong, she stood there to save her family because it was about family. Because it was only two of us at the time, myself and my older sister. Yeah. But I think about it, I would not have had my father. Or, it's a possibility that we would have been so divided even to this day. I wouldn't have cared who he was. It wouldn't even matter. Would not have even mattered. But I'm grateful. See, there's a reward, and there's also a cost for it. But I'm grateful. I owe so much to my mother because I was able, even in the midst of our differences, to still have my father in my life. So, hey, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I hope I've said something to encourage you. And we got to fight for family, okay? And don't let materialistic things bring a divide between you. Um, yeah, family can say and do things that hurt. Um, but if the love of God was able to restore our spirit For God so loved the world that he gave his own. He sacrificed his own son for us as his family. We ought to be willing to sacrifice as well for our family. We got to love on it. Got to love on one another. And Spike, we got to love on them. Love on that sister. Love on that brother. Yeah, it's a challenge. But who's the source behind it? Who's the source? There's a lot of great families out there that have some great abilities, some great things that, and I'm sorry to say, you may disagree, but a lot of our wealth and our success is tied up in other family members. But we have to put our feelings, our thoughts, and whatever, we have to put those things aside. We have to do that. Because we got to look at the greater purpose. My father was a man about family. I mean, there were so many people there, so many people, the lives he touched. But okay, I got to get out of here, you all. My time is up. Hey, listen, I want to thank all of you for your comments and everything. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week, all right? God bless.